What's up, everybody? This is your boy Charismatic Lee with another episode of Talk What You Know. I've been thinking a lot about July 4th, 1776, slavery, the history of the African slave trade in this country, the history of this country, and how gullible and impressionable I believe people actually are. For me, my opinion, I refuse to celebrate the 4th of July. I don't care about the fireworks and the tradition. A lot of the traditions in this country are based on demonic principles and slavery anyway, built off the backs of black people. First of all, July 4th, 1776. Kids, if you're watching this, all black people were slaves, maybe like 99% of them. There were very little free black people in this country. If you were from Africa or born here, you were probably either a slave already or born into slavery. If you were a slave, you had a whipped up back because you got lashes anytime you were subservient. The women got raped. The men got raped because I'm positive that there were gay slave owners and the guys were getting stuck too. Whew. We got hung. We got tarred and feathered. We got burnt alive. We got shot. We got stabbed. The lynching was the easiest part. We got our genitals cut off. We got the crap beat out of us with no help in sight. We got shot. We got tortured at the Sugar House in Charleston, South Carolina. If you got caught as a runaway, and there was just no green pasture for black people from 1776 on to like 1970s. Seriously, like I refuse to celebrate the independence of this country. Now, before you say, well, if you hate it so much, then why don't you leave? I ain't going nowhere. How about that? But I think it's crazy that we don't look at the origins of some of these traditions. Songs like the national anthem, songs like the ice cream truck song, that were rooted in slavery, but for some reason, black people still love them. You still celebrate July 4th. You still have a cookout. And even now, people are like, well, my holiday is Juneteenth. Even on Juneteenth, June 19th, 1865, black people were still getting the business. We were still getting lynched. We're just so far behind. We weren't really allowed to go to school with them meaning white people. There was no integration. Black colleges had to be created, which I don't think they're necessary anymore, but that's another topic for another video. And that's just for the people up north. The people in the South were either still slaves or indentured servants on paper, still being treated as substandard humans. And the history of this country and black people, it frustrates me because, like, the same way white people tell us to let it go, black people let it go too. Like, how can you celebrate this holiday and be like, happy 4th? I don't know. I'm frustrated about that. I'm frustrated that right now you might be calling me a house nigger. And I want to defend the house niggers. It's not like they had a choice. Think about it. Anytime you pass a big field in the north, in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, in Maryland, anywhere above the Mason-Dixon, any state, you pass a big field and it's hot in the summer, think about picking cotton for hours and hours with no water and your hands just getting cut up and stabbed from picking cotton for hours in the hot sun. We can't live without our AC now. Can you imagine picking cotton for the rest of your life since you were a kid in some field when the cotton is never going to end? It's just unlimited cotton. And if you don't do it, you get whipped. And if you don't pick the same amount of cotton you picked yesterday, you get whipped. Like, can you imagine that? So if you got the choice, if Massa comes and says, I want you in the house, are you going to be like, nah, Massa, I want to stay out here with the rest of them and pick this cotton? No, you're going to go in the house. Slavery for black people was all about survival, if you ask me. I'm talking about for the actual black slaves. It's all about survival. You had to do what you had to do to survive. If you got picked to be in the house, you were lucky. If you were a light-skinned black person, meaning Massa raped one of our women or a bunch of our women had the baby and they grew up light-skinned in the house, then they were getting raped too. like by whomever. Like if you were light skinned, you were in the house. If you had any type of body or whatever and you look good, you were in the house. You might have been in the field, but you were in the house at night. If you were a guy, you got a chance to grow up in the house, you can't tell me that you wouldn't like the house better than you like the field. If you had the option to go into the house, you would go into the house. Now, there were people who planned slave revolts, but they weren't the house slaves. They were the field hands, the field slaves. And I get it. And I don't know if I would have been down and out if I was a house slave. I probably would have ratted. That's the house slave's job. That's what they did. So when black people or anybody, particularly black people, throw around the derogatory term that they hate house niggas and you're a house nigga, I'm like, they was all the same. Like if they made a wrong move or they slipped up and they didn't snitch properly or somebody got away and they had something to do with it or they knew about it, then they got the business too. They weren't exempt. We was all black. The house nigga just happened to have to like rat and control the black people and be friends with the white people. What other options did you have? I just hate that people like have this like derogatory feeling for the house. I know that the head house nigga was the worst type of nigga you could be if you had to be a nigga, but I hate the fact that we even still use the word nigger. I hate it. I hate nigger. I hate nigga. I realize that it's just never going to happen. You look on social media and all the females say is, look, if a nigga do this, then like the word is not going nowhere and it's not going to happen unless we eradicate certain things, unless we stop singing the national anthem, unless we stop celebrating the 4th of July, unless we stop allowing some white cop to shoot some black person every month in some state in the United States of America. Like things have to change. And it's not about voting. It's not about education. Well, it is about education, but not necessarily, because there's other ways to make money and support your family and be a law-abiding, contributing citizen. But it's about like an overall mindset change, like the mindset of people. And I believe that if globally, as a group, generationally, we all don't change, then it's just not going to happen. And that's the frustrating thing, just the concept of us all making a shift to say all black people are going to stop saying nigger, or all black people are going to make this change, or all black people are going to make that change. I just, I don't see it happening. I wish it would happen. I wish we would learn how to stick together. But everywhere you look in America, some kid is getting killed every week in some hood. Some kid is getting killed by another black person similar to their age and over what? So, I mean, that's my thing. I wanted to defend the head house slave or any house slave, because if you had a choice, you wouldn't be in the field. Who would be in the field picking cotton if you had the option to be in the house where it's less hot and you can cook and clean and do whatever it is you had to do in the house? Like, why would you be in the field picking cotton or sugar cane or whatever it is you have to do to dig the ditches to create so the crops could grow? I don't want to do anything out in the hot sun. So stop coming at the head house slave. I hate that. I hate slavery, the concept of slavery in this country. And I wish that we would all like change our mindsets about how we view things and work together and stick together for the better. This is your boy Charismatic Lee. I'm just talking what I know. Get at me.